I'm Ajay Singh. I'm a product strategy lead for SqlDBM, and I worked with this team from quite a lot of time, right from the beginning when the company started. And we have developed this tool, and it helps you to design or enhance your data warehouse. So, just a quick flavor on SqlDBM here. Give me 1 second. Present. Okay. Yeah. All right. So SQL DBM, it's an online data modeling solution. It helps you to design or enhance your data warehouse without writing a single line of code. We do support 6 different databases as of now. And today's talk is going to be about Azure Synapse Analytics. But we support others as well. And the functionality is almost similar in any of the databases that you would want to utilize SQL DBM for. And then we are partners of Microsoft as well. And a lot of our clients are recommended by Microsoft itself as well to design their databases. And we are a fairly young company, around 5 years old, but we got a lot of traction with overall DB community. We have more than 225,000 users across the globe, more than 20,000 companies, got a lot of recognitions from many, many data architects. So growing very rapidly. One of the misconceptions before I get into the demo, I want to talk about it. So one misconception is I think it's still widely popular that data modeling is only for the modelers. But that's not the case. At least what I observed in my journey, data model or your ERDs are so important. They are utilized by not only your modelers, but there are so many different personas who need to visualize a diagram and understand it. For example, of course, modelers or database designers are there, data DBAs are there, data engineers are there, but your data governance team who need to document it and data catalog it, they need to understand the diagram. Your BI team who need to generate the reports, they need to utilize all these relationships or all the different entities that you have to generate the right reports. Your data scientist team, your business users. So there are a lot of eyeballs on your diagrams, even though you are not a first-hand modeler, but you want to consume. I would say anybody who needs to consume the data or who interacts with the data, they need to visualize the data properly so that they can do their jobs in a right fashion. So in a gist, there are a lot of eyeballs on your data model. And why use, okay, then why use online data modeling solution? So that's where SQL DBM's real power kicks in. So SQL DBM is an online data modeling solution, which helps you to create or design your database. It helps you to collaborate. So being online has a lot of benefits. For example, number one, you don't need to download any software on any computers. So especially in this, I would say crazy COVID times when a lot of people are working remotely. So they need solutions which are online so that they can, there is no dependency on any computers. That's number one. Number two, the designing a database is not a one-man job. It is always a team effort. So to collaborate, it's super important. So SQL DBM or any online data modeling solution, collaboration comes super handy with it. Consumption, that's how to consume the ERDs. That's also kind of part of collaboration. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of eyeballs. For example, your data governance team, your BI team, data scientist team, they also need to consume or visualize the models in a real-time fashion. So if there are changes happening, they don't want somebody to send a PNG or a PDF. They want to visualize it and understand it in real time. So that's also feasible in online data modeling solution. So saying that, let's jump into a live demo session here. So I'm gonna go to here, SQLDBM.com. So it's very simple, SQLDBM.com. If you type in into your browser, you will get to the home page. Like I already mentioned, some of the things that we support 6 different databases. Almost all the requirements for data modeling are already built into the solution. We are online, so collaboration comes very handy. There is a team communication feature, so users can communicate within each other, resolve issues. And we are partners of Microsoft. And then we do cover some level of documentation already into the solution, so the users can provide the right business definitions for all the technical names they have. But pretty soon we are also enhancing our solution to support more on the data governance. For example, if they want to provide any tagging functionality or data cataloging or some business glossaries, they would be able to do that once we release that enhancement. We are quite popular, like I mentioned. So saying that, I'm going to jump into the demo. So sign up with SqlDBM is very straightforward. It all requires is your email and password. Once you should receive an activation link in your email. Once you activate your account, then you can click on the link, activate your account, and then you can log in. Once you log in, you can go to the dashboard page. Dashboard page is the page where you will see all your projects here. For example, I have some SQL Server, some Synapse, Snowflake, all different projects I have here. If you want to start a new project, you simply click on Create Project, which opens the tool, and it will open this dialog menu where you can pick which type of project you want. For example, you want Synapse, you can do a new project, or you can bring your database, or you can, for simplicity, you can click on a sample project just to get look and feel of how it looks like. So if you do bring your database, that means that if you have something up and running and you want to reverse engineer and visualize that, you go there. So you can reverse engineer. There are two options here. Either you can provide the DDL. DDL, to obtain the DDL, is very simple. You use SQL Management Studio to generate scripts and you copy paste them here. Or you can connect directly to your Synapse server. You simply provide the details of your server, and whichever user you want to connect it as, you can connect and pick and choose the database that you want. But I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go directly to one of my existing projects because that is little more catered for demo purposes. So I have this AdventureWorks Synapse project. Simply clicking on that will load the project in the tool. For example, I loaded it and I have all these different entities here. And right off the bat, if you want to zoom in wherever, you can just simply scroll your mouse and zoom in or zoom out. Uh, or you can utilize these plus or minus buttons to adjust the zoom level, right? And if you click on any entity, let's say if I click here or if I click here, what you will notice that all the tables behind the scene are grayed out. Only your direct connections are highlighted. So this is a simple, neat feature. If you want to see what are your immediate parent or child objects, wherever you click, you will see that, and all other objects will be grayed out. Super simple. And also, as you can see in the screen, there are so many entities. And in a data warehouse, it grows very quickly. You can end up with like hundreds of entities. And it becomes very difficult to work with all of them in a single ERD screen. For example, if I'm working in this corner or if I'm working in this corner, it's very easy for a user to get confused or get lost. So to resolve that, what you can do in SqlDBM is you can split your whole project into multiple diagrams or subject areas. For example, I have a bunch of diagrams here. I have diagrams for each schema here, so I can visualize those here. Or I have subject areas. Subject area is nothing. It's more like a folder which can hold multiple diagrams underneath it. And the best use case is, for example, if you want to split or if you want to organize your project in a better fashion, you would create subject areas and organize it in a fashion. For example, different business areas would have different subject areas, and you can have diagrams related to that. For example, I have marketing subject area, I have sales subject area, so I can have diagrams related to each subject area there. Okay. So let's go to one of the diagrams and I'll show you how you can make changes. So it's very simple here. So I just loaded this diagram. I can click again anywhere. It shows you the parent and child objects. If you want to make any change, let's say if we want to make change to this one of the tables called product description. And I simply double click on that. It opens it in the editor mode right there in the diagram. I can add, update, delete any columns. For example, if I want a new column, I can just do test column here. I can provide the data type, varchar 50 maybe. And if I want to change order of columns, I can simply drag and drop and wherever I want. So I can change the order of columns, hit Control Z to bring it back, just undo functionalities there. If you notice, there is a thin gray line here. Anything above that is your primary key, below are regular columns. So for example, if I want a description or row GUID to participate in my primary key, I can simply drag it above the line and drop it there. It becomes part of my primary key. Or hit Control C, it will bring it back. If I want to add a table, let's say I want to add a parent table, I can click on this top left bulb icon. If I want to add a child table, I can click on the bottom right. So let's say if I click here, it's going to add a new table. So since we know that Synapse does not support primary and foreign key relationships, so that's why I do not get my column automatically here. But let's delete this relationship and I'll show you. So I have this table. I'm going to call it child demo table. And I'm going to do child demo ID as my primary key. So I got this new table. I can pick a schema if I want. Let's say production schema is there. So I got this new table, right? And I'm going to copy paste few of the columns from here. For example, I have some audit columns, and let's say if I want the same signature of columns to appear in other table, I can simply select and drag them with the control key pressed and drop it here. So I'll get the same signature here. And let's say if I want my product description ID as well. So I can drag it with the control key and I can drop it wherever I want. I got that column as well. So now let's say if I want to connect these tables, like I mentioned earlier, Synapse does not support foreign key, but if you reverse engineer any existing Synapse project, what you will end up is with all the tables which are hanging, loose hanging there. And for ERD, it won't be much useful if you have all the tables which are not connected. So you want a connection, even though there is no foreign key, but at least for your visualization, documentation purposes. So what you can do is you can simply click again on the table and drag this line over this table. It will make the connection automatically. And it will pick the right primary key and matching column here to just to show you that it is connected on this column. But if you want to change the something else on this relationship line, let's say you click on it, on the right side, it will show you the properties of this virtual relationship. And you can pick and choose whatever columns you want from both sides. For example, you can say modified date on this side is same as modified date on this side. So this is, again, you can pick and choose columns for your better visualization when it comes to clicking on the line to understand what columns are participating in the relationship. Another thing is you can provide some description for your relationship, which is this virtual relationship. You can also pick and choose different colors for the relationship. Maybe you want to pick green or pink to define different requirements within your company. So you can maybe use green to say, this is showing the lineage, showing my source and target tables, and pink is showing something else. So you can use different color scheme as well for the relationships. And then if you want to dig more details on any entity, simply click on it. For example, child demo table or this product description table. So if I click here on the right side, I have properties panel for the selected entity. So for now, we have this product description. We can see the schema, logical name, physical name, and all my columns are here. You can click on any of the columns to dig more details on the column. You have logical name, physical name, data type. You can make it nullable or not. There are other options which are, since we are in the Synapse project, so we see all the Synapse related properties here, like collation or constraints. I can also provide for this column. Going back to the table, I have access to all other properties from Synapse. For example, I have this structure options. I can pick whichever clustered index I want, or if I want no, or if I want a heap, I can set it up. I have distribution options. I have partition options. So I have indexes and keys. I can add more indexes and keys. Basically, anything that you need to fine tune your tables for indexes, keys, or partition structure options, you have all of them available in SqlDBM as well, other than Synapse. So the goal of SqlDBM is to help our clients to focus on their business needs so that they can design their database without writing any code or making any human errors. On top of that, there's a version control inbuilt into the system, so you can roll back your changes, go back to the previous version. You can compare different versions. You can track the changes, who made what change at what time. You can also collaborate with other users, which I'm going to show all of those features in a minute. You can communicate among different users, and also to further enhance the visual aid. Like if I go to this another diagram, you can see there are different colors on all these tables here. So there are some pink tables, red and blue tables. So you can apply different color format to your entities. And these are super helpful, especially if you are doing special kind of modeling. Let's say you are doing dimensional modeling or data vault modeling, then you can got different, you can give different industry standard colors to your facts or dimensions or hub satellite links, so you can visualize it better. For example, if I go to this table that we just added, child demo, I can click here. I can go to this format option. I can provide any color, maybe yellow or green, and that is really well appreciated by a lot of our clients because these colors really help them to understand the diagram very quickly. So let me show you the version controlling. For example, so far, if you notice, we have updated this table, we have added this new table, and let's delete a table as well. Maybe I'll pick a table. Let's delete this product category. I'm going to click on delete. It's going to drop it from my model, from my project in SQLDBM. So now we have made a bunch of changes. We added, we updated, and we deleted. And if you notice, I'm currently on version 142. If I click on save, it's going to increment to 143. And that's how the version control is taken care behind the scenes. I can go to main menu and click on revisions if I want to see all the past date and time, all the revisions that we have added so far. And the good thing is I can click on any of them to see what was done at that time. I can also see who made that revision. These are all by me because it's currently a non-collaborative version. But if it is in collaboration, this project is in collaboration, then I would see I would see the name of other users who are making these revisions. And also you can flag your revisions. For example, every revision by default gets a development flag. But let's say if you happen to release this 143rd version to production, you can always come here and mark it as a release version. There are other flags available, like if it is a hot fix, or if it is your master revision, or if it is your favorite, or if it failed, or if there are questions. So a bunch of revision flags available to mark on your revision to add more context to each and every revision. This could be useful, for example, if you have different team members, for example, your data governance team or data scientist team, they are also participating in the project. They want to visualize it. They might not be interested in all the development cycles that you have as modelers, but they would say, I want to see only the revisions, only the released versions. So they can come here, filter it, and they can see who released at what date and time. So let's go to the latest version one more time. I'm going to load it in the project, and I'll show you how the collaboration works. It's very simple. You go to this share icon. You can provide the email address of the person that you want to collaborate with. For example, I can invite Jake. I can give Jake's email address here. I can give Jake allow to edit or read-only access using this check mark. Then click on send email. That will invite Jake automatically to collaborate with me on the project. This way you can invite as many people as you want on your project with the edit or read-only capacity. So imagine you have like 5 or 10 people working with you on the project and they are all making changes. We have this feature called compare revisions. This comes very handy if you want to track the changes of all your progress in the project. For example, let's say if we compare my current version 143rd versus my previous version 142, I can see date and time they were added by which person. I can also visualize my changes. I can see what was updated, what was added, and what was dropped. So I can visualize all my changes that we did in the project so far. I can also materialize my changes by going to generate SQL option. So like I have all these tables, I can simply click on generate SQL, and it's going to generate the SQL of all my tables here. So that's how the SQL looks like. And I can easily copy that and run it on my server. Or I can also, if I have a CI/CD pipeline built in, or if I want to utilize Azure DevOps or GitHub and use those repositories to push my SQL, I can certainly do that. For example, I have already configured with Azure DevOps this project. You can, let me just show you real quick. If I go to my account, there is an integrations page here where you can integrate with Azure DevOps or GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket, AWS Code Commit. So you can integrate with any of them and configure your projects. So once you have configured, you will see the button here, push to Azure. So that really helps you if you want to integrate with your CI/CD pipeline. It will push the SQL to the directly to your repository. And if you are using any other tool behind that to set up your pipelines to deploy, for example, Flyway or Schema Change, that can push it to Azure Synapse directly from there. So you can integrate with there as well. And if you want to generate alter statements, that's also very simple. You click on generate alter, it will let you pick whichever version you want to compare against. Click on generate alter, it's gonna compare those versions, and it's gonna spit out all the alter statements that I have. So I have, these are all my alter statements. And we have another really nice feature called Data Ops. If you see last two tabs, environments and releases, those are related to Data Ops. I currently do not have any environments set up, but this basically allows you, if you want to create new environments, like let's say your dev, QC stage, production environments, you can easily configure them. So I'll just quickly show you how you can do that. If I click here, I can pick whichever name I want for my environment. Let's say my dev server. I can provide my connection details and pinpoint to the right database, and that's how I can set up my environments. So this way you can set up your dev, QC stage, production environments. Once you set them up, the good thing is you can go to this releases option where you will have all your environments. Let me give you a sample just to show you. I'm going to go create a dev environment here. I don't have a connection to Data Warehouse right now to my Synapse. So I can just click on upload script instead of direct connection and put test here. Apply and close. So this way you can have different environments here. So what it lets you do is, if you go to releases, it will load all the environments, and then it will also provide your current SQLDBM modeling environment. So it allows you to compare whatever you have modeled in SQLDBM against your dev server. So currently my dev is nothing, because remember I just created a fake environment with test. So it is saying all of them are new tables that you would want to push there. But actually, if you compare your actual environment, it will show you all the changes, like we were looking at the compare screen. So it will show you all the new tables or new entities, or which you dropped or which you updated. You can visualize all of them. You would be able to generate alter, and then you can push your script from here after comparing it with your dev server and push it all the way to GitHub or Azure DevOps. Similarly, this screen also allows you to compare different environments, dev and QC or stage or production. So you can compare those environments and visualize all those changes. Okay. Another really nice feature in SQLDBM is database documentation. This is super helpful if you want to document your database, and there couldn't be any better time while designing your database to document it as well. For example, you can easily find all the tables here, all the entities here. You can use this tree view menu to find any entity. For example, if I go to this, let me go somewhere. Let's say I go to this product inventory. For the missing pieces, I'm going to put sample description here. So you can provide all the business definitions here. So once I provide all the definitions here for all the elements in this table, you will notice in front of this table, there's a little green icon. That tells me that everything has been documented for this entity. And if something is orange, that means it's only partially done. If it is a gray, then it is not touched at all. So you can track the level of documentation as well. And good thing is you can search anything you want. For example, if I want to find any table, let's say my child demo table, I think I misspelled it. Yeah, my child demo table, I can find it. I can find any table or column name here. I can also search through my documentation. For example, the one that I just added, sample description, I can easily find where sample description is. So that's you can do. It's a free keyword search here. For navigability and searchability. And let me just save this version. You can also export your whole project in Excel format. For example, if I click on export to Excel here, it's going to download the Excel file for me. Let me show you how it looks like. Here it is. So I have different tabs here for this Excel. I have project info, which shows me some information about my project. Then I have all my schemas, all my tables are here, all my columns are here, all my relationships are here. So if you see all the yellow background cells, these are all my documentation or description values. And the good thing is that you can actually edit your Excel right here, make changes to your documentation, save it, and then you can upload it back into SQLDBM. So if you are more productive in using Excel for your documentation, using Excel features, you can do that. Or if you want to offload it to somebody else to do the documentation for you, you can do that way as well. And then you can upload your Excel here. So that's what you can do for the documentation. So this is the current documentation feature that we have available. But like I mentioned earlier, we are going to enhance this feature quite a lot because our users are asking that they want to add more data cataloging features. For example, they want to track GDPR or PII or something else within their data modeling process. So we would be adding those features pretty soon in next quarter. That's the goal. So that will allow you to do data cataloging, object tagging, or your business glossaries. So it's going to cover some areas of data governance within the tool. And then another features that the big ones that we have is, if you notice, there are little chat icons available on different tables here. So that's also super helpful. For example, if different team members want to discuss something or resolve some issues, they can open issues, they can go to this menu, click on add comment, and they can refer any user with the @ sign. Let's say I want to tell something to Jake. I can say, Jake, please fix this column or fix this data type, or please add a new column for my report, or any comment or any issue that I want to discuss. I can post this comment. Jake would receive an email, and any member of my project team can participate in this communication, whether they have read-only access to the project or edit access. They can participate there, and they can discuss the issue. And once the issue is resolved, they can click on this resolve icon to resolve it. So that will remove the chat icon if I click here. So that way they can discuss issues and resolve issues. So the goal of SQL, this team communication feature, is to reduce the communication gap between teams, so they can discuss the issues within the right tool, within the right object, on the right object they want to discuss. Okay. And then we have tons of other features, like naming conventions is inbuilt into the solution. Here you can go to naming conventions. You can set whatever cases you want. You can have suffixes, prefixes for all the different entities. You can have glossary if you are moving from logical name to physical level. So you can do that. We have different visualizations or view modes available for all the diagrams. For example, I can pick different view modes. The current one is columns, where I can see all the physical level. But let's say if I want to see the logical definitions, I can turn that on. I can do descriptions mode, where I will see all the descriptions. If there are any descriptions provided, currently there are no descriptions for the table level, but otherwise, if there are table definitions, I would see them within these checkbox or within these rectangles. And then similarly, go back to columns. And sometimes what happens is your screen is very busy with lots of columns, and they would occupy a lot of screen space. What you can do is you can pick keys only. If you want to see only primary and foreign keys, how tables are connected with each other. Or you can see only primary keys or only tables. So you can pick and choose whichever view mode you want to visualize your whole diagram into. And uh, and all of those view modes are fully capable of creating a digital copy. You can export as PNG or SVG if you want to have a digital copy to share with other users or having a printout. But the best way to share your project with other users, what we recommend is go to share icon and provide their email address, and give them maybe read-only access if you want to just share it, because then they will be always up to date with all the changes. On top of that, they can utilize the tool. They can go to different diagrams. They can click on any of them to see all the details about each and every entity as well there. So those are the very high level features. Like I mentioned, there are many features inbuilt into the solution, but these are the ones that you would need if you are starting on SQL DBM and you want to utilize the top features which are very popular and which can really help you to enhance your productivity. Um, all right. I think I gave you guys lots of information, and I'm open for any questions that you have.
I think they're coming in. So Hannah, for instance, is asking AJ, what else is on the roadmap for SQLDBM?
Sure.
What's the roadmap?
Uh, Let me just first show you that SQLDBM is a very agile company. So we have releases almost every month. There's a change log here where you
Mm,
can go and see what was released.
mhm,
So every month we have solid releases, and um, our release plan is very customer focused. So we listen to our customers very closely, and we try to prioritize them accordingly.
mhm,
What next is coming in SQL DBM world is we are about to release templates, which is coming in next 3 weeks, I would say. Then we are also adding a lot of other objects, for example, stored procedures and functions. We
mm,
currently have support for views and tables, but we are adding other entities from Synapse.
mhm.
Uh, and then we are also integrating with Confluence, because SQL DBM is not only used for modeling, but it is used as a communication hub between big enterprise companies, so they can communicate the models to the whole enterprise. So that's where APIs and Confluence integration is coming down the line.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I would say we can open now for the Q&A session, so everybody who wants to could ask their questions directly to Ajay, and Ajay will
Sure.
answer. I got a little question. Thank you for your presentation. Still looks impressive. Maybe I missed one thing. How are, let's say, conflicts detected? Is it done automatically? If so, if, for instance, two developers are, let's say, working on the same table and do similar things on the one and single column. So how is this
Mhm.
detected? Is there a way
Uh,
to, or is this possible that somebody does it?
it is not possible
Ah,
at this stage
okay,
of SQL DBM, because
okay, mm,
it's only one person can edit the project at one time. So you
okay.
need to acquire the lock, and once you are done with the changes, you can unlock. But while you
Um,
are making changes, you have locked. All other team members can see that, okay, Ajay is editing the model, and
mhm,
they can, communication feature is open for all of them at all times,
mhm.
but editing the model is only by one person at one time. But
Okay,
saying that, we have bigger teams who have requested a feature that they want concurrent modeling. So we will be
exactly.
resolving that.
Mhm,
And it's very simple to answer your question. How would we resolve it? It's going
mhm,
to be similar to compare screen. So let's say if I made a change and you also made a change and checked in, when I'm going to save it, it's going to say that there's a conflict. There's already updated
yeah.
version.
Mhm,
It will throw me on the screen similar to our compare versions, where I would see the change,
mhm.
where I would see what's already in the server and what changes I have, and I can pick and choose whichever I want. It will show me the comparison, and I can pick and choose, and that's how I would be able to promote my change again
Yeah,
and
that
resolve the
would
conflict.
yeah, that would be really killer features for some of my projects because let's say those guys are working in teams where let's say they have hundreds of table and working in parallel from time to time, not knowing that the other person is working on the same item, so to say. Okay, that would be really cool in the future.
Yeah.
AJ, one more question, maybe from me. First of all, this looks completely impressive, and I know now why Georg wanted us to have a look at this and to to
Mm,
get to know the tool. Now I do understand. From what I've seen, the tools that you support, the databases that you support, some of them can also be installed locally. Is there any way to communicate with local databases, or would it just mean that you need to have them installed in some cloud?
Uh, it can work for any local databases as well. For example, on the homepage, you can see that we have a lot of support for on-premises databases like
Yeah.
SQL Server or MySQL, it doesn't really matter, because when you go to the reverse engineering screen, that's the only touch point that we have with your database. And you can provide the DDL. So for MySQL, PostgreSQL, or SQL Server, you can provide the DDL, and that's how you bring your project into SqlDBM and start working on that.
Okay, but then you need to make sure that you can access that database, that local database from where you are right now.
Yeah, let me show you. For example, let's say if I want to do a new project and it's a SQL Server project, and I say a new project, leave this one, and I say, okay, I want to start a new project. I have something local, so I can go to reverse engineering screen, and I say, bring your DDL script, and that's how I have steps here, how to create scripts. It doesn't really matter. So I can go to my SQL Server. I already have a script here from Northwind database, for example, and it's a sample project. I can say upload script. It's going to parse it. For example, here I have 13 tables. I click on import, and it takes me to the ERD. I do star auto layout, so I got nice visualization of my diagram here. So it really does not matter whether it's local or on premises or on cloud.
Okay, I see. So it's done on a script level.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
We have a very interesting question in the chat, and it's a typical Microsoft style question, I would say. I think I know the answer, but let's ask. So Armin is asking, very nice tool for SQL OLTP DB. I would add for data warehouses as well, see Synapse. But what happens with changes in an OLTP DB in a DW? Okay. And furthermore, for the rest of this deck, I don't know if you know this, Ajay, but we have tools like SQL Server, integration service, reporting service, analysis services, the whole BI stack. Have you ever thought of, let's say, bringing your tool to these services as well? Just a question. Just
we haven't thought,
because
but
the reason is because I think Microsoft by itself is lacking this kind of, let's say, having this pipeline in place for years and years and years. So, and I know what the pain is for Armin.
Yeah. We haven't thought about changes with the other data warehouse stack that you mentioned, SSIS, SSRS, but I'm sure behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, I mean, our customers who are using it for data warehouse for their Microsoft stack, they are, it's not integrated, but they are using different tools, and they are using SqlDBM as well as part of their whole process for designing and pushing their changes.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, so I mean, it's a bit, let's say, a question which goes to Microsoft as well, and I think I'm a bit frustrated currently. I would like to speak openly about the lack of, let's say, developer support, even in Synapse. Not thinking about the other services, you know. So working only in SQL in bigger project is a kind of, let's say, really painful, and so tool like SqlDBM is really needed, I would say, in bigger, at least in bigger projects. And so typically, let's say our tutorials and demos deal with a bunch of tables, but that's not very realistic in a big environment, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There's a huge gap, and that really helped SqlDBM to scale up very quickly.
Yeah.
And because data modeling is such an important aspect, and especially with the growing data, like data is growing so fast every day. And at exponential rate. We all know that it is being used for AI, data scientists, and a lot of different new places. And to manage the data is super important. We cannot just dump the data anywhere, and then utilizing or consumption becomes so difficult. So that's where I think data modeling is getting a lot of eyes now, and a nicer tool which is very easy to pick up and start is super important. Which I'm glad it is giving a room to us to grow.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what you're doing very good is, let's say, thinking about, let's say, how to integrate in let's say kind of, let's say, team code-based development and making use of code repositories and DevOps pipelines like GitHub and GitLab. So my customer is a GitLab customer mostly, and using a bit of Azure DevOps as well. And this is another thing. So it's a very basic integration of Synapse for now into GitHub, but only for the data pipelines, and not really. I would say for the SQL code. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
No worries.
But guys,
yes.
let me maybe spoil the party a little bit, because I have to ask one very important question for most of my customers. AJ, can you give us any hints about the cost, about the licensing options and the cost?
That we are very straightforward in that area. There's nothing hidden. If you go to the pricing page, and let's say Synapse, and our pricing is super reasonable and very competitive with all the existing solutions. So it comes, the business license for 3 licenses is $3,000, but there are different functionalities in business and enterprise. Basic is, don't worry about basic because it's mainly for the for students or somebody who is beginning, but for professional usage, it's either business or enterprise. And there are different feature set between enterprise and business. Of course, enterprise has a lot more features because it is on the enterprise level. But on enterprise, the pricing varies a lot. It depends on your team size and what features you want. So it scales, like overall, I would say we have clients from like $3,000 to $70,000, depending on the size of the number of licenses they are acquiring.
Okay. Could you click on the plus sign for business for just once? I mean, what does okay, I get the idea.
Yeah. Super simple.
Super simple. Yeah. Okay, but that's really pretty easy. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. And you mentioned about some people giving them read-only access. Is that in any way cheaper than people that are actually modeling?
The read-only, the consumption, we call them consumers. So the consumer licenses is part of our enterprise. Business is only for modelers. And if they have consumers, they use enterprise, and definitely it is cheaper, way cheaper for consumption, because you want to communicate to as many people as you want. So it is cheaper. It varies. It's around like, I'm not sure. I think it's around $300, but in one of the bigger plans, it goes almost $0 as well.
Okay. Okay. That's for the read-only access.
Yeah. But the read-only guys also get the team communication, so they don't feel out of not part of, because they need to discuss with the teams, like to backend modelers, and tell them, hey, I need new table for my report or something. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I think one of our team members, Anna, she already mentioned if they want to learn more about pricing or demoing, then you can contact Anna at anna@sqldbm.com.
That's very helpful. I got another question. If I think about my customers, so their question would be, where is the DDL code hosted?
Yeah.
Physically.
Good question. So we are on cloud, right? So we are hosted in AWS in the US region. Okay. So everything goes to our cloud. And as far as the security is concerned, you can go to security page. We are fully compliant. We have a SOC 2 type 2 compliance. We have penetration tests, all trusted data. Yeah. So
I think it might be talking only, but only, let's say, even in the schema of a database, there might be some sensitive information. And I would say that the question would be coming up at some point. Yeah, but okay. Thank you for the answer.
Okay. All right. Anything else? And one more thing, for a lot of clients, we heard like they are moving to cloud in their cloud journey. Maybe they are moving from SQL Server to Synapse. So we have this feature which is called Convert Database Type 2. For example, let's say if I open my SQL Server project, this one. and I say, okay, now we are ready to move to cloud, and I want to create the skeleton in cloud for Synapse. So we have this feature called Convert Project 2, where you can convert your project from this type to any of them that you support, and that will actually convert your whole project. It's basically lift and shift of your whole data model from one type to another. And that, if not 100%, it definitely does 60 to 70% of the job of converting the database and database types and making sure that nothing is lost. And so that it gives a head start or kick start to their cloud journey.
And you could do this, for instance, from Snowflake to Synapse?
Yeah,
Aha.
I think we do have that as well. Yeah, so
Could be interesting for some of my POCs. So
sure, yeah.
But you don't get the data; it's just a schema.
yes, yeah, but yeah, sure. It's beginning, and I mean we have this thing called Synapse Pathway, and I cannot remember. I think Snowflake is already there, but I learned but let's say we are a bit restricted currently. Yeah, and yeah, DDL is also is a start, and it could go for Azure Data Factory or so, and then let's say transport the data. I mean, not millions of tables in POC. You have to think about a small POC, 20 tables or so would be interesting. Yeah. So have you already experiences with customer, let's say, who are living in this kind of strict environment with regulatory compliance, also financials, also this, and so and you
Yeah,
could convince them to store their DDL in the US on AWS or so. Is
we have,
this
yeah,
doable?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have faced clients from Europe, especially on the financial industry or
Okay.
yeah, but our since we are compliant with the we have compliances, we have certifications, and our security team they work with our security team to get over all these hoops,
Ah.
and we never had anybody not joining because of that reason. Because
Mm.
at the end of the day, it is only metadata. Number one, it is there's no data. We never look into the data. We have all the compliances, so we give them that level of satisfaction and. We haven't seen any issues there.
Okay, and one thing that is, let's say, kind of, let's say, a bit hypothetical, but so I have the chance to talk to a product manager now. So, so you might have heard about, let's say, a new Microsoft service called Purview. Purview is this kind of, let's say, the new data cataloging feature, data governance of the future. So I would say just a proposal would be a good idea. Let's say if you're talking more about tagging and things like that, let's say you might think about, hey, let's integrate in Purview. I mean, Purview got this open source Atlas API, and maybe there's a chance for you, let's say, to transport your info.
I absolutely agree with you, and we have a lot of our clients who have requested that, who are on Microsoft stack.
Okay.
So we are going to release APIs which would be able to able to integrate with Purview as well.
Yeah, that's a question, because let's say interestingly, Purview is very, very fresh. I think it came out 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So and my clients or our clients are very much asking for it. And typical questions are like, hey, how do I integrate with this and that? And yeah, okay, cool to hear this. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely are going to make this integration happen, and it's very soon. We are looking for like 3 to 4 months to have this integration in place, so that will help.
Any more questions from the audience? Feel free to ask Ajay directly if you like to. Markus, anything on your mind?
Yeah, I'm still quite amazed. So
overwhelmed. Okay.
Nothing directly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Super glad to hear that, Marcus.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely very much enterprise level. I can see that, but that's where the need comes up. You know, I mean, for medium-sized customers, that the need might not show up, or in this case, they would like buy 3 licenses and they're probably happy. with that. But then, of course, when you go to the enterprise level, you need far more licenses, might be a different deal then. And then, of course, you have a lot more people to actually access this at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of our clients who start with the smaller version on business plan. And then they, when they have more team members or when they need more features, they are more confident, they always upgrade to enterprise. Yeah.
And apparently, you mentioned that you have some clients that actually do data vault modeling. Is that true?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your experience?
A lot of them. A lot of them.
Okay.
Whoa.
And I'll show you something here. I actually, if you know Dan Linstead, you might know.
Yeah.
Right. I took his class, Data Vault class, and I did my project exercise within SqlDBM. So I created some templates, hub satellite links. Like I did, this was my part of my class. So we did leave some comments and some team communication. So we created a nice Data Vault model within the class. And Dan was also super impressed with our solution. And I think they are already utilizing SqlDBM for their further training. And we're going to have some automation available down the line where you would be able to create your pick and choose your tables that you want for your satellite and hubs and links. So it will do some automation. Currently, SqlDBM is a freehand design, so it really does not stop you to do any kind of modeling, but automation is not there, which we will be supporting. So a lot of clients are using, yes, for Data Vault as well.
And here you see the colors are really extremely helpful. It makes it much easier to understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Marcus, good point. I think for Data Vault, this would be really helpful. Huh? You have to communicate a lot and stuff like that. Yeah. I was wondering if Data Vault is still around, but let's say I think 1 week ago or so, I found a use case at my customer for the first time for years. Somebody is using, but maybe different with your customers, Marcus.
Yeah, some of them do use it actually, but I mean, from my experience, only companies that have enough internal people working on this, they don't need external help or support, in which case they might need me. If they don't do that because they have a lot of people already working for them full time, then they easily make the effort. Well, not easily, but they love to make the effort to do data vault modeling. But if they actually need external help to do something like that, they don't do data vault because that takes a lot more time to complete the project, and that makes it a lot more expensive.
That's correct. There are high efforts with data vault.
Yeah. But maybe with SqlDBM, we're going to make it a little bit easier and easier to understand, so it becomes at least feasible to try it even as an external consultant to go and to use this kind of modeling. Absolutely.
So with my big customers, so I have seen, I would say, the opposite of, let's say, clear structured central data warehouse. They call it a data lake, but it's a data lake. It's a data warehouse. It's purely SQL and it's built on HANA. I mean, the whole company is built on that, but it's a terrible mess, I would say. So we came across tables which are, let's say, over 600 or 800 columns wide. Totally strange, yeah. And on top of those wide tables, so ingesting SAP data and filling this up. So they are building, let's say, humongous views. You can imagine. So I think. Let's say the documentation is in the heads of those guys who built the views and stuff like that. So it's terrible. And it's like they never heard about, let's say, any principle of data design, like star schema or data vault or whatever. Never. Totally strange.
Yeah. But this is true for so many customers, and this like this that at least pushes, it nudges them in some direction. It nudges them toward, well, do document a little bit. I can even give you an overview of whether you did the documentation or not. That's a very good idea, with the traffic lights indicating if documentation has been done or not.
That's cool. Yeah,
that's going to help. Yeah. Well.
Okie dokie. Yeah.
So no more questions. Then I would say let's call it a day. That was really amazing, and I'm looking forward to, like many people, watching the video afterwards. And I definitely recommend to some to take the time and watch the video, because we get a nice overview of all the features that you have, and there's so many that it's, you know, I guess there are even more. You can see in the menus that there's even more coming, or even more possible. Yeah, that's pretty amazing, I must say.